How's it going, everybody? DJ K DuB Omaha, Wired Access Podcast with the All Access Granted.
I didn't want that to be the standard. I didn't want someone else in the room to set the standard. I always wanted to do that.
The journey to get there, I think, is something, that is amazing.
Let's get this podcast started.
That's right. It is DJ K DuB Omaha here on All Access Granted, part of Wired Access. We greatly appreciate it. Adam Carricker and the Carricker Chronicles for having our little podcast on his big platform out there. Today we have a former Nebraska prep, someone who is currently at UNK doing one more season under Coach Held. And as you guys know, if you follow me, you know Coach Held and I have grown a relationship these past 2 years, and I greatly appreciate it. We have former Millard South Patriot, Isaiah Baum Harris. Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome.
How's it going? What's up?
I wanted to bring you on here, and of course, the hardest thing is I'm not like this guy who will find multiple ways to reach out. And social media, it doesn't mean that it's always available. It's hard to get a hold of people, and that's okay. But I feel like the timing happens when it happens. And for you made a big decision here a couple weeks ago that I think will resonate with current Nebraska preps and those who are looking for future, right? Especially for a former Nebraska prep who had a great stint there at Millard South, of course, laying a lot of the pavement that you see a lot of the success that they're having now. And then going off to become a Husker under Coach Held as your recruiter. Things didn't go the right way and you got choices and you could go, I'm going to back out. I'm done. You find a new beginning, you find your home, and you've just been a wrecking ball for UNK. Lopes up, baby. If you know. When you think back to freshman high school, Isaiah, and you think of where you are today, was this the journey, the road that you thought it would be as a young man who was really looking to find that love for sports?
To be honest, no, not really. It's crazy because my freshman year of high school, I was 5'5", 120 pounds, super small, really, really little guy. I was just fast, and I didn't play half the season because I was out for a concussion. It was freshman year, it didn't feel right. It was just weird, whatever. And then sophomore year, I didn't think I could play for our varsity was glorified. If you got on varsity, you got to wear your jersey in the hallway and everyone's like, oh, you're a junior, senior, blah, blah. So getting there as a sophomore, I was kind of oh, this is real. This can actually happen for people that are smaller. Maybe this is an opportunity. I've never gotten that feeling before. So once I figured that out sophomore year, I was like, oh my God, so college is the same way that I looked at it as a freshman. I didn't really care that much about it, but now I'm playing varsity as a sophomore. I'm having a lot more opportunities than most people are going to have. So maybe college is going to be the same way. It's an opportunity. Might as well see what I can do. So I kind of looked at it junior year, became reality.
You think back to that sophomore year and you think back to the small Isaiah, who did you kind of look at to kind of represent some of the game and the style that you love to play?
Sophomore or freshman year. Oh God. Honestly, the first person, I know it's bad as an athlete. I don't watch sports crazy. I play it and put my love into it. Through that, I can't play sport games. I can't really watch sports. I can't keep my mind on it the whole time because unless I know people that are playing, it's easy to watch. But if I don't know anybody, it's not that. It is what it is. But once I started falling in love with the game and the position of a running back, I started looking at obviously the old school running backs. Everybody loves Barry Sanders and all the ancient guys, whatever. But and then Saquon popped up kind of out of nowhere for me. I just started seeing highlights and stuff. And I'm like, God, the stuff he was doing, I can't imagine seeing that in person or doing that on the field. And then people would start kind of bringing up that same thing to me. Dude, the way you can just break a run for 80 yards whenever you want and this and that. And I started kind of putting myself in other people's shoes, watching me on the field. I'm like, yeah, I guess it is kind of the same thing. So I started idolizing kind of his game and what he does and his him as a person. I just wish he had, a better start. obviously NFL, but ever since then, like he's been kind of the only person I can say that I'd like to be like, but I know like he's an animal, so that's kind of
But
got a question.
it's a good thing that you explain it that way, because everybody thinks you play football, you got to just love it out of the gourd to where you're constantly in it. But I feel like that might have helped you become who you are, especially today, to where you were able to disconnect and just always worry about you. You didn't
Yeah,
worry about others. You didn't worry about, I mean, and people, if you were on his team at Millard South, please don't ever get this wrong. It's not like he didn't care. He just didn't, he knew what he wanted. And I know for me and growing up when I grew up, to me, dude, you're a scat bag just like freaking Darren Sproles. Every time I see you touch the ball, anything can happen. And
right.
that is Saquon Barkley, don't get me wrong, but what I love is your also ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And I think that's something that sometimes running backs take for granted,
Mhm.
because you're so used to having to block and you're so used to having to do, that part, that you forget that the importance of being that outlet for your QB and being that guy that they could count on. You think of the atmosphere and the culture that you grew up at Millard South. Now, I coached at Omaha South just prior to your arrival there, with the Noah fan age and all that. And when I think of it, anytime we played Millard South, there was so many athletes that on every level, all the way from up, like you said, from varsity down to freshman. I mean, you guys have a B squad the whole way through. How did you start finding your way to the field at an early um, option as a sophomore? Because of the thing is they don't have to play sophomores. They don't have
No,
to play juniors. They have so many athletes. What was some of the things that you felt you were able to make yourself stand out and be different?
like I think this comes into life in general. This is crazy because everything that happens throughout my career and my life, good and bad, like it's legit timing. I think timing is the biggest thing that we can't control nor expect to go perfect all the time, but we kind of have to acknowledge it when it does happen. If I was a year younger, I probably wouldn't have made it to varsity sophomore year. If I was a year older, Antrell Taylor would have had my spot. Like it was like either way, like I was in a bad position. So the way that it was like sophomore year, Coach Bond, who was like, like Mike Tyson's coach. I was just an older guy, very like, he was that same father figure to me, just very straightforward, blunt, never like praised me crazy. He just told me what I need to do and what I need to hear. He just came up to me. He's like, we want you to come practice with the varsity guys, like during the summer or whatever. Doesn't mean you're on varsity. We just want you there to like kind of show us what you can do in a way, in a sense. I took
Well,
it
I
how he
mean,
said it. So
he leads you to water, but he can't make you drink. Like
right.
they always
Yeah.
say,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
that guy leading the horses, and you get that option to go up to varsity. How was your friendship with the teammates that maybe not get that opportunity at that time? How does that
Oh,
change for you, and how do you control what you control?
I mean, everybody that supported me was like, I hate it because it's like everyone has to have a story. My story was like they all loved me. They loved seeing me succeed. They loved seeing me do what I had to do. They were at every game excited to watch me play. Like if they're also sophomores, so they're probably on JV. They're like at the varsity game, suited up or in the stands, just cheering me on regardless and like hyping me up the whole time because like I represent them in a way because we are the same class. So that's kind of how everybody kind of made it seem. And I never felt like I was higher or lower. I felt like I was representing the sophomores on the varsity team. There's only a few of us, so it's like very good to stand out in that sense for our guys.
You, of course, starting to gain traction, getting, of course, I think 800 yards in your junior season, over 1,000 yards in your senior season. What's some things that you remember that went really well for you in the development of your body and ability? And what do you credit that to?
um, a lot of it is obviously the weight room. I became like I hit puberty, started growing, so maybe a little bit of delusion of like, oh, the weight room is making me taller and bigger, but like it's just also puberty was happening at the same time. So it felt like I can see it in real time working. And then I started noticing like I was faster, I was stronger, I was doing things that felt so natural. Like I don't have to try to do a lot of things I do. My body just reacts and it reacts the right way. And I started seeing that kind of transition into now I want to learn more about the plays and why plays work the way they do and kind of develop the mental state of everything. Because the physical thing has always been there since I was a kid. I've always been fast. Like the vision's always going to be there. If you're a running back when you're born, you're going to be a running back. forever. Like your vision is always going to be there. You're probably a great driver, and like you just see everything before it happens. Like it's all one thing. I've always had that, but like the game aspect of it all, that developing like why plays work and what everything happens and why everything happens is like that was my biggest like, oh my God, like I can see it so much better now.
As far as recruitment during those early years, what do you remember that you knew and kind of who was kind of guiding you through some of that? I feel it's not always easy because not all parents have played sports at the next level. Social media is obviously blown up even more since you've been in high school. But the recruitment can be an up and down and could be a part of the adversity of want and desire that maybe not reach to where you want to go.
I think that it's like I didn't have anything stopping me from thinking I could do whatever until recruiting. Like I knew size was always going to be an issue. I knew that like, my stats, my film and stuff, it was just so straight line, straightforward. I was doing what I had to do and I was getting things done, but I wasn't doing it in a flashy way to catch attention. Like I was just always doing the correct thing, which, social, like you said, social media didn't pop up till legit the next, like after COVID, when people start blowing up and now they're getting offers from all over because they're being seen for one play. Like it's just, that would be a blessing if that was the case, when I was in high school. But for me, my parents didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. We were experimenting. We had to have like NSCA or some like recruiting website that we were sending emails en masse and like trying to get visits and stuff. And I went to some junior days. And I met some great coaches, in the FCS level and everything like that. It was just my size seemed to be the biggest talk, I guess you could say. And then obviously my grades were the most average grades you can have. So that's not going to help me in any case. Never good in kind of like testing and all that, but I can if I needed to. And then after that, it was just kind of like we didn't know what needed to be done until maybe a little too late. Like my senior years, I started getting a little bit more help from people that started noticing. But after that, we're like, there wasn't much coming in, I guess you can say, in the sense of we thought there was going to be a little bit more love towards the state and whatnot. But
well, and what I like is that is such a key cog, right? Like where you can go, okay, well, maybe this sport ain't for me. My size,
right.
they constantly bring it up. They constantly bring it up. You can't change it. You can't just all of a
No.
sudden get a growth spurt.
No.
But what you could do is just continue to work on the things that are working for you. What was some of the big things that you felt were getting the eyes onto you, both on and off the field? Because you already said that the grades were kind of mid. What was some things that they did like about you?
I think a lot, like seeing me play is what I've heard a lot of compliments about. They obviously film, it looks different than when it's in person. And like, you get to see the context behind the whole game, like clutch moments, important times, like parts that separate, the two teams that are playing each other. Like it could be one touchdown that completely changes the momentum. Like seeing that is kind of like what I've noticed is like, I wish more coaches could see the context behind when I make plays and how I make plays. And it's not that I'm consciously doing it, but it's like, I just kind of, and it happens in times of need consistently. So, it just, I don't know, but seeing my speed in person and seeing stuff like that in person and how I move, it seemed to get eyes on me more than obviously online. It was hard to put myself and like reach out to people and like, here, look at this, look at me. About like that to me wasn't the way to get recruited. If you wanted me, you would see me and then like we go from there. But me pushing my stuff out there where 1,000 other kids are also doing the same thing, you're not going to stick out in that sense. I didn't think, but
well, and I like that you
people.
say that because that's a lot of, even to the day. Obviously I'm in my 40s, but I still live by a lot of that. Like I DJ, right? Like if you want me to be your DJ, you're going to reach out to me. And I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just, I'm not out here trying to sell myself. I'm just doing what I do and people enjoy what I do. Or even with this, with Wired Axcess, a lot of people are like, man, you're getting some of the good people like Jordy Ball and and them, and you should be able to get all these people, but you still have to go out and attempt to get it.
Right.
When I'm more worried about the story and getting people like yourself that can give the good word to give back to those students, or one parent that might go, man, I don't have any guidance, but this guy right here has a part of my story or my son's story that goes perfectly aligned to why things might not be seeming that way. So I greatly appreciate
Right.
you sharing that part of it, because it is some of that where it's your timing, but it's also you just wanting to be wanted. You don't always want to where you're pushing yourself onto people, because that doesn't mean that it's genuine. It doesn't mean that it's
Right.
legit, you
And
know?
I've noticed too, like I could never not be myself. Like when I go on these visits and when I, go to all these camps and events and stuff, all these kids are kind of like, it's almost a facade, which you have to put on. I don't cut in line, do whatever you like. You got a different shirt on, you're a little bit higher status, dude, do you? But like, I'm not going to go out of my character to change because it just feels so uncomfortable. And I'm worried about football more than I'm worried about how I'm perceived. And it sucks that I have to change that to put myself in front of people. But I could never drop down to, that level. Like, yeah, people are cutting in front of me, but then when we race at the end, I'm one of the first guys. I'm like, who the heck is this kid? Where's he been? I'm like, I just like, to me, that's more impressive than like, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, and then not performing at all. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
and
That was huge when it came to that.
being in a Nebraska prep, how did it start for you in Nebraska? How did that relationship start for you? Who was the person kind of got that connection going for you?
Who did? So Will Height, Kenny was he was like, I mean, he reached out to all the walk-ons, but I didn't see it like this because I think all recruiters are kind of like, they see what they want. They kind of like, they butter you up and then they get you there and then they show you, things that you like. I see him as that at the beginning, but towards the middle and the end, when he started to leave, I started seeing his character and he started acting like himself instead of like, just his title as a recruiter or whatever it was. And I started like talking to him and he showed me a lot of appreciation. And he wanted to help when all the coaching staff changes were happening. And he was very on my side with everything, even after the fact when he didn't have to be. That's when I realized, like, looking at it now from the start, he's always been a great dude. So I can respect him a lot for giving me those opportunities. And then he kind of handed the baton to Coach Brown, who was like the greatest thing that ever has happened. Him and Coach Bond, the two old heads, running back coaches, were like, those were my stepping stones to get to where I'm at today.
Well, and you think about just even that recruiting process to become a walk-on. How did that thought process come to you? Because I noticed, of course, we also had AJ Forbes on my Wired Access podcast, and I see that dude every Friday. He comes out, plays some volleyball, but I was able to share his part about the walk-on, where he just felt like he was going to be a difference. He was going to be part of that change and that history of how impressive walk-on could be, but it also could be just as heartbreaking on the other side of it.
Man, the walk, I don't regret anything. I love that I walked on. I was never a Nebraska fan. Like I said, I didn't watch football, but like once I got there, obviously those are my brothers. Like I'm gonna watch them till they're all gone. I thought that my role the first couple of years was to prove myself as much as I possibly can. That was through scout team. I was one of the only running backs there that could last, 3 years without missing a single day through injuries and this and that. And I was giving my all to those black shirts every single day. Like that was my job. I showed love for them. They showed love for me. The coaching staff changes I was working my way up and getting noticed. Like, oh, why don't we have you on special? Like coaches were asking me these questions. I'm like, I'm just here. Like I've been here the whole time. And they're like, okay, we're going to do this. Then the next week they're gone. I'm like, okay, new coaching staff, work my way up. Why don't we need to get you, we like this. And next stat, like it was always just timing. It was it was bad timing. And I took what I had, I used it. I put my all into the team to get as much as I can out of what I was given. And that I became the best player I probably ever was during that time. And my teammates, a lot of the starters, second string, whatever, like, why are you not playing up with us? Like there were times where we're down a lot of backs and like I was one of the only options, but I was never practicing with the offense. So I didn't know the plays as much. I didn't get as much opportunity. And that's all it takes is a couple like reps, a couple opportunities with the ones and twos. And then the growth is insane. Like you see it with Emmett Johnson, like he was not behind me, but he was like younger than me. So I was kind of like showing him around. And then when I leave, he just gets a couple opportunities in a game. And every single game he plays, he gets better and better and better. And it's to the point where whoever's behind him is just falling down if they're not getting in games because he's getting game experience, which is 10x what you get in like practice and reps and practice and stuff.
Well, and you talked about being a part of that practice squad. How how were you able to keep yourself wanting to show up and show out every day with nothing on the other side guaranteed. How did you continue that part of your journey and make sure that you were going to give the best and you were going to do everything, but no one ever said, "Hey, you show out, I promise you this. You do that, I promise you." Like, so many people nowadays want that guarantee.
Yeah, they need it.
But they don't know that once you leave college or once you leave where whatever you're doing, the thought of a guarantee is never going to be the same for you. So if you experience it now, like you did with your practice squad, that just builds your character to where you are today.
I unintentionally do this. I think it's just who I am. It's my character. Like, I'll start here. Whenever I have a new job or something introduced into my life, I want to be the best I possibly can be at the. I will watch videos. I will study it. I will understand it. I want to make it as efficient as. I was delivering Amazon packages for a few months while I was waiting. I was watching videos on how to do it the most efficient, fast, like the correct way, just because I wanted. I love to learn. I don't know. When I was at Nebraska, I was addicted to being like as good as I possibly can be. I didn't care about what's going to happen. I was like, I watched my last practice, like, oh, okay, I could see where I could fix that. Coach Brown was always on me about like doing these certain things and like looking at it this way and blah, blah. And like, I was so focused on that I didn't care what was going to happen. I just wanted to perfect my game. That's also why I walked on. I knew nothing was going to make me a better player than being pushed as a walk on, kind of the underdog story to get better. It's either you die out and take the night train home, as my coach would say, or you adapt and improve and get better with everybody else and succeed. Like there was only two routes that you can go. So
You look across the room and you look at everybody that you kind of came in with. How is the culture of that walk-in group that you came in when that happened? And then of course go through coaching change, and how did that kind of affect the atmosphere and the culture that you felt?
we actually were all like, we all went through the same thing. So that was a very like instant, like we all got each other. We understood COVID, this and that, whatever. Like, but as soon as like the whole Scott thing happened, it was like a switch flip. Like Mickey was the best head coach I've ever been around in that whole process. He treated everybody the same. It was like he knew all we had was each other. So he kind of like stepped back and let us, younger guys and starters and scholarship kids, we all had to like, all right, either we, go down the drain or we get better. And we were all so close with each other at that point because it's like we don't have anybody else now. Like it's just us. And that did help us a lot become, a better team. I wish more would have happened with that, but it's like just going through those struggles together. Every college team goes through struggles, but specifically those ones that we went through, like the fact that we're all still so motivated to keep going kind of kept us, pretty close knit in that sense.
How did you do when it came to social media and all the stuff going on around you guys during that time? Whether it was fans or just media, how are you able to worry about Isaiah and only Isaiah?
I honestly don't believe social media is real. Like I cannot. I posted a video thanking like the fans after one of my spring games, and because I did really good. Like I scored my first spring game as a freshman. Like I only get like 4 plays and you score. Like that's. I was just thanking everybody and like the process and everything. And then people were like, they were like burner accounts, obviously, but just going at me about, oh, like you need to worry about practice. I'm like, dude, I was laughing. Like I was like, there's no way this is real. And that turns into, making all these rumors and accusations about my coach and this and that. I'm like, dude, like I'm 18, 19 years old, like just trying to play football. I don't really care about what you guys are saying right now. It doesn't affect me whatsoever. So
See, and that's what made me go strong, is just because I saw how, and I'm a Nebraska fan, cool. But obviously when you coach football and then like with Omaha South, like you're coaching differently. Yeah, we want to win, but you're also trying to coach these young men to finish something.
Yeah.
It really changes the way that you watch football, the way that you see things go on. Or I would go to games because my daughter was, she graduated from UNL, and we would go watch games. And, it was when we were losing, but I was looking at things differently. I was more looking at what's going on. I was a DB coach. Yes, I'm a big guy that was a DB coach. Why? Because I'm going to show you how to get in the right position, right place. Your speed, like you said, you either got speed or you don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to utilize it. And I would just look at it on the defensive side and I would analyze it a little different, just going, they look really lost right now. They are seriously there. You have your safety telling the middle linebacker he's out of place. You have a corner out of place. You have a nickel corner out of place. And when people are out of place, everybody thinks it's the play call, but sometimes it could be, but sometimes it's trusting of that team. And
Yeah.
you think of those types of struggles and you think of the trust factor. Were you guys able to realize who was there for Nebraska and looking to get better and who was there just to be there? Like, were you able to kind of
Oh,
distinguish some of that hardcore?
instantly. The minute, like, we had every freshman, no matter if you were a scholarship, 5-star, 4-star, whatever, walk on, we were all in development group. We all learned how to lift, relearn how to lift, because a lot of kids didn't do that in high school. I obviously did, so I felt like this was like elementary, but like it's whatever. We all had to do it. This is when everything came into like realization that like attention to detail is what they want. They don't care how hard you go, whatever you do. Like listen to what he's saying and how he's saying it, and just do it. Don't second thought. Don't overthink. Don't whatever. There was kids that would show up, not on time one day, and they have to put on the McDonald's visor, and then they're never coming back. They're humiliated. Like that hurt them so much. I'm like, dude, all you had to do was just show up. Some kids just didn't show up at all. Like all that stuff led into like, okay, these kids aren't what we want on the team, but it's what we need, like their skill set and for them to develop as men. So now we're pushing that hardcore. Yeah, they're not listening. They're not doing the right things, but we as athletes and coaches all were on top of them. Like, dude, we know you hate to hear it, but get your together. Like, come on, like we need you just as much as like you want to be on this team, etc. The walk-ons never really had problems. We all obviously were fighting for our lives every day to be on that team, just to show out, to make sure that we were never in a position where we were a nuisance or anything. Like we didn't want to be a walk-on and also be doing stuff wrong and also like causing problems. Like that was the worst case that could ever happen. So we were always, how are you messing up, dude? Like we are blessed to even be here. You have a scholarship and you're messing up. So we'd always get on top of kids, and that kind of kept us in the same mindset of like, let's just all pay attention, lock in for a little bit, just so, because we know it all translates to life and on the field and everything else. But that's where it starts for sure.
For yourself, how were you? I'm pretty sure plenty of people said, how come you don't go somewhere and play? What was kind of your ideas prior to getting to UNK? And what's some of those conversations? How hard is it for maybe loved ones to watch you do what you love, but not get what maybe they feel you deserve? And better. I think it's always stronger when the athlete has no problem with admitting of what they could be or who they could be if they did just a little bit different or did a little bit better.
I knew what was going to happen, going to Nebraska, the chances and everything. I knew that it was going to make me a better player, and that overlooked every other problem that I ever had. I think that my dedication to the game and to my team is what makes me who I am. So I didn't believe in the portal. I didn't believe in not abandoning, but in my eyes, it's like abandoning something that you have been growing, like a culture with your teammates, your brothers. You've been suffering together. Why just leave, after all that progress? To me, that didn't make sense. Despite everything, like the head coaches, all these teammates leaving and stuff like that. Like I was like, I'm sticking here because it's right for me. And like Coach Brown also was one of the main reasons I was staying there. Like he was my biggest, like I trusted him with everything I did. Like I made sure I was the first person to talk to whenever I had issues. And then eventually, like I kind of like grown up brain came in, and I was like, God, like my main thing about walking on Nebraska is I didn't want to get lost. I didn't want to go out of state and then get lost in like, a team and like people that want to watch me like don't even know about me anymore. Like that kind of was my fear. And then I got too caught up in that, to the sense of I'm getting lost here. Like, yeah, I'm on Nebraska. Yeah, it's good for the status, whatnot. But like, I want to show what I can do, not just talk about it all the time and like prove to why I got here. Like there's a reason why I'm here, and that's to, show off what I can do to a bigger platform. So I thought I did what I had to do. I tried. I was going to stay another year. Matt Rule just was not my coach. A lot of process, a lot of things happened with that. And I was like, this is a sign to like, just let me see if I can go somewhere for the last 2 years and hope to God that I can still ball out after not touching a field for 5. So,
Well, and you of course had the stint where Coach Held was there at Nebraska. What do you remember about your early relationship with him? What was that like? Of course, we've talked about Brown, we've talked about Will Height. How was that for you? And
um,
with Coach Held, he wants nothing but the real. He wants people to understand, like, and this is what I love about him is he's such an open book that he's not afraid of what didn't go right at Nebraska and
yeah,
what is now going right at UNK, right? Like
right.
there is things that people will go, well, he was a part of the Husker Scott Frost era. Yeah, he was, but he was a running backs coach and this is what he controlled. Like
Right.
small.
That's one thing that, like, with him, I always want, because I knew how straight he was, how blunt he was. He would tell us, like, "What was this? What are you doing here?" Like, I'm like, "Coach, it's my first year. I don't know." Like all that. Like it was always just straightforward, blunt. And I knew he was doing his job. It sucked because it didn't feel like that at the time. It felt like we were getting kind of like overlooked. Obviously, he's not going to put in dudes that don't know what they're doing to like give him a chance because it's just a risk at his job and this and that. And like 1,000% fair. So I just made sure in scrimmages and stuff, that's where I can prove myself. That's where I show off what I can do. And he always was very appreciative, but then he was also very goldfish memory. Like, you did good, but like we're moving on. Like, we're not going to stick onto something that's not important at the moment, which is 100% understandable. Like, what you do is fine, but it's also in a scrimmage. Like, it's just pinned it, whatever. He was very much so, he kept me in line, I guess you can say. Like, I always made sure to be perfect. I couldn't mess up anything. He would be, till this day, even at UNK, I couldn't have the best game of my life. And he will find one little frame from hours of footage, like, Isaiah, he would just hit it right here. I'm like, got
But
it. So
it's
like,
also because he knows you and he knows that that's you.
you're right.
He has learned everything that you have talked about already in this episode of how, like you said, you're being an Amazon delivery guy. You're looking to, I'm gonna speed up my process. And that's the way that I'm always thinking too. Like, one, you learn every day, no matter how long you've been doing something, you will learn
Right.
something every day if you open your mind to it and want to. And two, there's always room to do better.
Yes.
And like people will be like, "Oh man, you had a great DJ set, or you had a great interview," and I'll be like, "But I know I could do this just a little bit."
Yeah.
And it's like some people can't take that criticism, and I could say now it's really hard for some people to take that criticism because they feel like they can't do right, but they don't understand that that's how criticism can make you better because you'll take the positives that they do give you, whether it is just a, hey man, you had a great run, and then they give you that little sauce of, okay, I know you can do better because they
Right.
believe in you. And you
Yeah.
get a coach to believe in you. And obviously that's been the thing that's probably kept you going as strong as you have is you've had people that continuously believed in you, whether you were on practice squad, starting,
Yep.
sophomore at high school. I mean, the continuance of having people believe in you is something, and especially with coaches, it's not always granted. It's
No.
not always given.
I think, like, even since, Coach Long at in high school, like, all in Coach Means, like, they were all very old head kind of vibe. Like, they will get on your butt about everything and they'll praise you just enough to where you kind of like get that energy back, and then they'll get on your butt again. Like, that is all I need. I don't want to be praised all the time. Like, I don't need that. That doesn't drive me. That doesn't help me. It is very nice, and I'm appreciative of all the praise and love and support, obviously. But like, when it comes to my craft and me getting better as a person, I don't need praise. Like, I don't need you to tell me everything I'm doing right. I need you to tell me everything I'm doing wrong so I can do something about it. So when it comes to football, I loved every single time a coach yelled at me. I didn't hear him yelling at me. It's like you kind of just mute the voice and listen to the words. And like, you just, okay, this is where he's trying to help me at. I'm messing up. He's frustrated, but he's not mad at me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what drove me to, like, every single day I got yelled at or like something picky. Like, I was like, okay, this is something I could work on. Like, I'm not perfect, thank God, because then maybe I would have died out sooner. Like, I would have been like, okay, I'm perfect. I'm done with football. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know, but that's how my brain kind of works in that sense of things.
No, I mean, I think it's led to your success. Of course, do you feel like I know you said you don't regret or wouldn't go back, but do you feel like you gave one too many years to Nebraska?
Um, in the time, like I obviously like it happened. Whatever happened, happened. I'd never go back on anything that I chose to do willingly. But say if I would have known that I would have had Matt Rule come in and a whole complete staff change and everything else, and kind of like how complicated it was going to be, I probably would have stepped away and just transferred with when Mickey was done, or like that Scott Frost last year, just to give myself a little bit more of an opportunity. But I was also very hopeful, and I was very like connected with the team, and a lot of the guys that I you know came in there with were staying. I was like, we all got to stick through it. Is kind of my mindset, and I thought that would help me as like an older guy. Like I would have a little bit more respect. For my case, it didn't help, but there was a lot of kids that walk-ons that did get opportunities with Matt and the new staff and stuff like that, which I'm grateful for, because that shows that like it is possible. Like they were kind of in the position like that I wish I was in, but I'm glad somebody got in instead of like nobody in a sense. So
Being a part of that class to change it, you think of the coaching styles of the three that you've had. Let's just say, high school, you got Frost and you got Rule, and you think of how could you explain that roller coaster for athletes who sometimes see the coaches change and they're sometimes run away from it or they get scared of it?
mhm.
How are you able to adapt yourself between the high school coaching, Scott Frost, and then Matt Rule for at least that 1 year?
In high school, it's a lot about just trust, having faith in yourself, and then listening all the time. No matter what, if you think you're right or wrong, you're wrong. Listen, whatever the coach is saying, we can have our locker room talk and complain there, but never in front of the coach, because he's going to tell you everything you need to hear. Whatever. That's how it, like, I hated that. Like, I felt like I was kind of in the spot of coach's favorite. Like I was one of those kids that like people that don't know me or don't see what I do, like, oh, coach is always like helping you out more and blah blah blah. I was like, I didn't want that. Like I wanted whatever coach was telling me, I was then telling everybody else. I was helping as many people as I can, so it didn't seem like all eyes were on me. Like my position was important, but also my position as a leader in that sense was even more important to me, because like they're going to be coming right behind me. So that's a testament to what I did, was the running backs behind me and whatnot. And then obviously college, straight business. It's like growing up and being able to vote and stuff, like politics, business, straight up. You better know like how to deal with this stuff. Like your neighbors are not going to have the same political views as you. You cannot get emotional. You cannot act on straight just like whatever the first thing is that comes in your mind. Like, no, you have to think logically and put your emotions kind of to the back and just be who you are and let that fold out. Like I didn't understand the politics and business and all this stuff, but I'm like, it makes sense. If I put myself in the coach's shoes at 100%, this is their lives, their kids, the food on their table is coming from what they choose to do with the kids that they have. I did not get like that, didn't break my heart. I found out my emotions were completely pushed aside enough to let me understand it. Some people don't have that ability, get emotional straight away, and it ruins everything. Their connection with the coach, their relationships with their teammates. Oh, coaches don't see me like this. I wish this would have been. I'm like, bro, like just do you and everything's gonna work out. That's all it is. Like the politics and business will always be there. It's D1. Now with NIL, it's even worse. Whatever. Or even more abundant, I should say. But like what you do is the only thing you can control. And if you want to decide to be emotional on things you can't control, you will be living in chaos the rest of your career. So that is what changed my mindset to be like, I need to control what I can control. And as Coach Mean says, be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's my zone, that's my area, and just do what I need to do. I was me the whole time. I didn't change. I didn't want to change. I wasn't a Nebraska football player. Like I hated being seen as that. People would ask me, I'm like, no, I play golf. Completely shut it out. Like we were done talking about it. Like it just made sense to stay in that route because that's what I'm used to. I'm not trying to be something I'm not.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, that is the different style, like because then it also goes back to playing time, right? There's some people that will go to a college just to say, I got that in on my chest. May not ever see anything from it, but in the future they could say, you know what, I went to Nebraska. Now, for yourself, what I love about this story is one, you stuck to who you were. Two, You gave the black shirts the best that they could have every time. There was no one outside of this story or you telling it would ever know it. No one's gonna go, you know what, man? When you were on that practice squad, boy. But what
No.
it did was it shaped you for the future of who you are right now. When you think of moving to UNK, how did that all come together for you? Of course, for someone that was strong enough not to just jump and bail on everybody, how did that come to you to go, this is my time, this is where I want to go or can go?
Um, it was just like I knew everything I did once it started to feel like a part of the story and not the main story is like something is going in the right direction. The minute I kind of had the thought of like, okay, I want my friends and family to finally see me play on the field, regardless of where I'm at. I just want them to experience that because they have sacrificed so much for me to be in this position. I owe it to them. I owe it to them as in like that's just how I feel. I think that as soon as I felt like, okay, what I did at Nebraska and everything was it's a part of the story. Like in my head, that's all I'm going through. What I like, it's part of the story. It's not who I am. It's not what I did. Nothing of that really matters unless I do something else. Transferring to UNK, having that first season, I felt like it was like 10%. I felt like I had so much more. I was like, I've gone through so much, and like this is all that I was able to kind of get out. I need to improve. I need to do better. I can do better. It was my first time touching a football field since 2019. Like that was my first game, like it was just it was an unreal feeling. And I felt like I had so much more that I had to get out. And as soon as I felt that first season, that first year, I was dedicated to the team. I wanted to win. I was tired of losing. I mean, no offense to like Nebraska, but like going from, Millard South, to Nebraska and just constantly losing all the time and having that like, God, I know we're so much better than this. Like, what is happening? And then going to UNK and just being able to have a part on the team and at least put blame towards myself if there is any to give, it made me feel so much more in control and like gave me the ability to be like, okay, now I can say that we are doing something good or bad because of me. I'm a part of it now. So that felt correct. That felt like the right thing to do. Nebraska, I couldn't say that because I can only practice, like I can only help so much. But like in the games, I can't point fingers at like, yeah, that's on me. I'm the reason the black shirts were this way. Like, no, like games are different than practice 1,000%. So that's
What put UNK on your possibilities besides being close? And how
oh
did these conversations go with like Coach Brown and Coach Held? How did that, because now obviously Coach Held is in a whole different position. He's the head coach. He's the head
right,
honcho. So
right.
yes, we know he loves his running backs and he's gonna
Mhm.
have that key. But where did your connection come from and how did it go with Coach Brown and you making this big decision?
Coach Brown, no matter like even throughout the whole Matt Rule problem that I was having, like he was the only person that truly stuck with me because me and him, I couldn't ask for a better coach. He instantly wanted to help me as much as he could. He understood and he knew like he told me before, not directly, but he's like, God, if I was like had a position of control, like I know that I would put you or somebody like you in the position that you need to be in. I was like, that's like all I need to hear. So I was ready to go put that somewhere else, that somewhere that's wanted in a sense. Cause like he was the one that's seeing it. My teammates were seeing it. The people that need to see it just didn't ever get the opportunity to see it. 100% fine. That's football. He helped me obviously talk to my coaches and kind of like gave me that sense of like, it's okay. Like you're good. Like you need to go do what you need to do for yourself and your family. And I was like, okay, finding a place, I had to make a decision. I entered the portal in December because I couldn't, if I would have known, I would have entered in May, but I didn't know all the stuff was going to happen, blah, blah, Matt Rule. And then December came, enter the portal. You have 2 weeks to find somewhere and like commit. And I'm
Oh,
like,
this is early in the portal. So this is like when it's flooded. Like
yeah,
that's what some athletes can't wrap their mind around.
there's so
It's
many kids.
you versus 7,000 plus. I mean, 7,000 is a very light number. I'm just saying that just think of something you can relate to by the students in 2 high schools, right?
Yeah.
Like wrap your head around that. You think of that part and you're going, and especially for someone who has been so dedicated. Like the last thing is now someone's got to want you. Just
Yeah.
because you go to the transfer portal doesn't mean someone's going to go, you know what? I want this guy.
Yeah. And like the odds of them seeing any, like to me, like I was lucky enough to have all those coaching staff changes because now I have coaches all over the country. That was kind of my outlook. I'm like, I got dudes that know what I do and have seen me play like in practice and scrimmages now at all kinds of different colleges. I did have a lot of them kind of help me out and just talk to some guys and I messaged them and whatnot. And it sucked because I can't travel. Like I couldn't afford to travel. I couldn't go visit. Like I had a couple of New York and like Texas schools and they're like, we would love to have you come visit, blah, blah, blah. Unofficial, obviously. So I was like, I can't drive, for a whole day. And like, it was just a bunch of stuff. And then Held obviously texted me, or I texted Held and he's like, are you still looking for a place or whatever? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, come down this Friday and like, let's talk. That drove down there in a day, ate some pizza, talked to him, same plays as we used to, like all the plays I know, all this, gave it to me straightforward, all this scholarship, this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll know by, in 2 days, whatever. So I committed instantly. He was stoked. And then I was there pretty much as soon as I could to start spring ball and all that. So it was just so convenient the way that it all kind of ended up working out, mostly with how straightforward he is. And obviously my connection with him just being that quick. So
Talking to current and future NEB preps who are out there in this process now, and you think of Division One not playing, Division Two being a staple, and being someone that you are the dude running the ball and being a difference maker. How can you compare that to go through? Obviously, you've said it, and it's well noted. He never wanted to give up any of Nebraska, but had this been an option earlier, would you suggest players to go that route if they feel like they want to play now and get on that field?
like the first of all, the MIAA, one of the best D2 conferences. Held says it all the time. It's the SEC of D2. Going from Nebraska and like seeing the competition, seeing like all these guys that are coming in 5 stars, everyone's 6'8", blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? Seeing the speed and the difference between all of that is insane. Like the coaching helps a lot because they're also all high level coaches. Going to the D2 level now, it's like just sprinkles a D1, sprinkles a D1. And if you can get everybody to line up, it's the exact same thing. Facilities aren't the same. Coaching, obviously training and all that's going to be different. But if you want to be on a team that feels fast and like this is college football and make a difference, going down a little bit just to get on the field is legit. There's no difference. It's like almost for me, it was like take my ego away for a second and see do I want to play in front of 60,000 people just for a couple snaps and maybe make a little something noise on Twitter, or do I want to play in front of 6,000 and completely change the game and like the output of what I can do inside of the game? I was like, I want to play football. I don't care about anything else. So like instantly, as soon as I knew that, like that's the decision I would make 100 times over. Is go somewhere you're wanted and you can make a difference. Like that's it. Like that's all you need is football. You don't need any of the extra stuff to be who you are in a sense.
Well, and that's why I got to share Malachi Coleman's story for, Iowa Western, who's now, at FSU, and then you could look at, and I mean, you could probably, this guy probably well, you got, what's his name? Nate Glantz. I mean, that kid could have given up a long time ago.
Oh my, Nate Glantz he's
and the way his story went, of the opportunity, just never quit. And I think these are just, especially in this time where transfer portal, people feel it's easy. People feel it's something that you can just go to someone who can share the story of it's not always easy. You still had to make your connections or else the opportunity would have never came that quick and that good for you.
Yeah.
Where you got to stick with what you wanted. You wanted family, friends to be able to see you play. Kearney's not that far. Don't be afraid to go out there. I get to go out there this year. I'm going to come out there again since I went to Wayne last year.
Right.
But then the fact of opportunity to play just adds a little bit icing to the cake. If you are a true football player, you can look across the Midwest and below D1, every school is in the Midwest.
Yeah.
There is good football going on around here. And what that also does is it also can give you an opportunity to boom, move up one more,
Yeah.
move up one more.
Yeah.
Because being seen, it's like you said, had you not made your connections, it doesn't mean that someone was going to come out and reach to you because you didn't have a lot of film.
Right.
And I have seen some people who have put themselves in the transfer portal and all they got is practice tape. That's all they
Yeah.
got. And luckily you guys do get that. I mean, if you're at the
Yeah.
right college, but that still isn't always there. You might have to actually call someone and say, "Hey, I need you to come film. I need you to do this." Like there's so much involved with it. Now you're at Kearney, you're with Coach Held, and you guys are obviously making run year after year of at the opportunity. What's been the best part about this journey for you to be who you are and going in this final season for UNK?
I think the connections and the teammates I have had the past 2 years have made me who I am and kept me sane in a sense. Because I didn't think that was like I thought what I had at Nebraska, like, that was bonding, that was, like, brotherhood, that was team like, no. Come to UNK, you are all 1,000 times closer than all of our lockers are just, everything's just super close in. It feels like college again. Nebraska started feeling like an NFL team. The difference to me is like this is what college should feel like. Like you're close knit. You can talk to each other. You can yell at each other. You can get on each other's butt about things without any precautions of like, oh, is he going to hate me? Like, I don't want the starting quarterback to hate me. No, like it's a brotherhood. That is instantly when I came here. Like I had a couple buddies, Jordan and Nathan Peshik. Like they were the first day I was here, the first people I talked to and hung out with them every day since. And now being able to play on the field with them, it was just like it made it 1,000 times better because like that you have trust now. Like that's your best friend that you're hanging out with and going up against him all the time on the field, like opposite ends, whatever it is. And it just made it so much more like childhood football versus, business and politics and stuff. And then winning was even, 1,000 times better. So that helped tremendously, I would say.
If you look back at high school, Isaiah, and you're also going to be talking to, current NEBPreps, what's the one thing that you wish you knew back then that you know now when it comes to where you're at, where your feet are planted, and what's going good for you?
I would like to say it's just know who you are as a person and create that person on the field in the sense of like I used to be a very emotional, very heated. Like I used to in elementary school, not a day goes by where I didn't spend, however many hours in the principal's office. That was me. I was just very like whatever. I found football and it became therapy. I started seeing people for some reason be happy that I score a touchdown. And I'm like, what? Shouldn't I be the one that I'm like, I'm enjoying them being happy and excited for me. My teammates are all excited, hyping me up and this and that. And that's why I played football. That's what got me to high school football. Being in high school, I didn't want to be, this known starter, this big name, I didn't want to be any different than my teammates. I wanted them to be happy for what I was doing on the field. I wanted them to be excited that we're winning games. I wanted to see their faces after certain plays and this and that. And like, I loved hearing that stuff. That's who I was on the field. I put all the anger and like all the just straight, like everything behind me in the sense to do it selflessly. I wanted to be as selfish as possible. I knew that football was therapeutic. It's what made me who I am. I stuck to it. Like getting angry and emotional and all that kind of stuff, you'll see it right away that it changes who you are. And if you let that get to you on the field, it'll get to you off the field and it'll change you as a person. That's the worst thing that can happen to any players because now you're going back off your roots. So sticking to who you can be and finding all that little niche stuff that you're into and why you love the game is really all you need to get you through to wherever you need to go.
We got a couple more questions here to get you out of here. I greatly appreciate all those who have liked, follow, share, and hopefully got one thing from this message. I mean, Isaiah is really laying it out there of, the process. It's not easy. It's not something that's all rainbows and butterflies. And, there's a lot of lumps through it, but the continuous thing as he continued to do through the process was finding out who he was. When you look at your last year here, what made you come back for this last year, and what should Loper fans be looking for this year from you?
I was not. I thought I was going to be done. Like, I thought this was my year. It was a movie. It was going exactly as planned. Everything that I could control was being controlled to the highest extent that it possibly could be. It was perfect. It was like I was disassociating because everything was flowing how it should have been going. I blinked. My leg was messed up. Blinked again. I'm getting surgery. Blinked again. I'm bedridden for weeks. In the span of 2 days, my life completely flipped upside down, and I lost the one thing that's been keeping me sane. I lost my therapy. I lost my my why in a sense. I lost everything, but I still had the part of like my family, my friends, and people looking out for me. So I didn't lose who I was because there's so much behind it, but it truly did feel like I had so much more to give to them in a sense. And it almost felt like I was giving up if I didn't try, even though it wasn't. Like, it's not my fault, but it's also like I want to be in control. I need to be in control. So this is not the end for me if it doesn't have to be. I don't know if I'll be the same. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to do everything I need to do to get back to where I need to be, whatever. But I just know, like, if I go out that way, it won't satisfy everything that I've given in the past 4 years, because that's just not, like, it doesn't feel right. It feels like it's a movie that with an ending in the middle. Like, you're just like, that's not how it's supposed to end. I thought I was going to be that guy. I thought I was like, oh, what if I didn't hurt my leg? Like, what if this happened? I didn't want to be that 40-year-old, 50-year-old guy talking about what ifs and stuff like that. I wanted to prove that it is possible. What I was talking about, what I was showing, is still able to be laid down, winning, losing, whatever we have to do. Like, I want to give it my all. So that kind of kept me, in the sense of like, I still can do this. I still have that motivation, the drive inside of me. And then I'm also going to just try to give that to my teammates. I want them to know, like, I'm here for them. I want to win. So hopefully everybody else gets to see this kind of this team is very close knit. It's getting closer every single year. So I'm hoping that they're going to be able to see us kind of lock in a little bit more than we have in the past, and be able to see a team that's not just, football players, but more so a brotherhood that is also just all really good at football. That's kind of like what we want to be seen as. So,
And you guys, of course, are also going to have, your guys's, what is it called? Your graduate assistant coach, Jawan Hamilton. What does that mean to you, to be able to come back with him being a part of that for you? And I say this because, for those that have watched, we shared Trevor Munson's story, former UNK Loper. And look at him now. He's, out there at Eastern Michigan, but he still pushed so much for the Lopers when he was there, and he went through injuries and he became a grad assistant. How important is a grad assistant to someone like yourself to go, I got one more ride, let's go together?
I think it's just the love for the game is it's translated through everybody, despite if you're on the field or off, and seeing that through the sense of younger guys, usually grad assistants, still being there and like having that drive. They're just like teammates. Like, they're in between, obviously, coaches and teammates, but you're so much closer to them, and they're giving you the energy that you want to see from guys that are like watching it from an outside point of view, to where like you want to give it your all. You want to make sure that you don't disappoint a brother in a sense. Like, your coach, like, you're going to disappoint your coach whether you do everything correct or not. But these guys, like, they're going to give it to you straight. And like, the worst thing you could do is like disrespect them, or kind of put it in a way to where like you belittle them because of the position that they're in. But realistically, they're there for you, and they want it just as bad as you do. And I think, Reagan Jones, when he was a quarterback coach, I wish I could have played throughout the whole season, but he was legit my brother. Like, I love seeing him on the sidelines, talking to him. He tells me, even on the field when he was my quarterback, he would tell me everything, right, wrong, this, that. Like, he's like, hey, watch out for this guy. And then instantly, like, I don't need it. Like, that was our connection. So now he has a better view from the side. He sees stuff better. He's able to talk to me more. That's always, in every position, has helped the team culture-wise, and then just as a game standpoint too. Like, you can't go wrong if you treat it the correct way.
No, I love it. Well, of course, we'll get you out of here with what's Isaiah outside of football? What is your go-to? What's your thing to keep you level? What should people know about Isaiah besides football?
I stem it from football, but I also just love doing this. I love speaking mind. I love opening up people's minds, perspectives, all these kind of things that you don't really dig into unless you truly want to. A lot of people that I do talk to, it's kind of like it's either going to be a deep, very deep talk to where you get something out of it, or it's going to be a fun, kind of ridiculous talk that it doesn't really matter. Like to me, I think making an impact in somebody's life, whether that's, from football or outside of it, is going to be my drive. It's going to be my why. It's keeping me sane, making other people feel good, and opening up these parts of their brains that maybe some people can't. I want to be known for, oh, Isaiah, I remember you from, a couple years ago at the bar. You were like, we had that great conversation. Like some of these people you never think to talk to, but like, I want to give everybody the chance to, have a word with me and just talk to me. And then if I can do that through everything I do in life, like I want to make an impact where I can. So
after football, what's next? Is it coaching? Is it hoping to play? We of course got a couple. I don't know if you know, but your boy does Omaha Beef. We got some indoor football. What's next for you? What do you think is after this year? Have you thought of that far? What's kind of future looking for you?
I'm going till I physically can't, and so we'll see. We'll see where this season takes us. I had a lot of plans from last year. Like I was hoping to play in like a Senior Bowl and this and that, but like obviously stuff happens. I'm gonna control what I can, and then hopefully, worst case, I'm gonna figure it out when it comes. But I'm not one to plan too far ahead or rush anything. So
live in those moments, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your story. Again, hopefully, if there's one parent, one athlete who just grabbed one thing from this, that means that Isaiah and myself did our job of letting you know that your journey is yours. How you handle it and what you do through it is what you control. And I think he said it well more than once. Controllables, controllables, controllables. What other people think and feel and do and post about you, you can't do nothing about. You can only continue to stay on your road. So I appreciate that strong message, especially in this day and age where some people think clout is what's going to pay the bills in the future, and clout's what's going to get you all the way to the finish line when you get older. All that stuff's fun and games when it's in time, but besides that, it doesn't get you where you want to be. So thank you again for sharing that. Remember, you can find this series on characterchronicles.com. Just look at their podcast. We appreciate you checking out there. StreamYard, this is brought to you. Thank you to the Omaha Beef, who are preparing for 2027. I don't know if you saw them in 2026, but they did lose the first 5 games, switched up coaches, and turned around and went 6 straight and got to the semis. They were real close to getting. And the champion was the team that they lost to in the semis. So never say never and never quit. That's what these two stories are always great about. And always remember, Lopes up, baby, right? Lopes up. Go UNK this year.
That's right.
All right. We'll see you guys. Yes, sir. Thank you, Isaiah. And thank you, those who watch. Remember, you always see me on Primetime Beef Huddle. See you.
The standard is the standard. We set the standard.